Thanks and hello. I'm Jim Sinai, Chief Marketing Officer at Vanilla, and I'm joined today with by Rick Holman. For this panel, we're talking about how to scale estate planning across the enterprise. And Rick, you're a senior estate planner at Baird. Tell us a little bit more about your role, your background, and Baird as an organization.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. I'm part of Baird's wealth planning team. We have specialists in various areas that deal with financial planning, with tax planning, and in my area with estate planning. I'm one of six estate planners. We generally break things out by region, although the regions are very um, random and not always perfectly defined, which is just fine. That way, someone around the country can work with me, or if they want to. If not, they can work with one of my colleagues. We serve a group of about 1,000 something financial advisors, I guess, and many of them are on teams. And so I don't know what the team count is, but we serve about 1,000 advisors. So it's not anything where we have any kind of defined ratio. One advisor per 200. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's all very loose and flexible. What we do is help people with the I got a guy situations. I got a guy who, and when it comes to estate planning, needs a will, has a will and doesn't know how it works, has a will, knows how it works, doesn't like how it works. Whatever the situation is, we kind of help them before they go to the attorney. We always preface what we do with, hey, look, we're not here to replace what your attorney does. We're here to augment the relationship. The attorney does a lot of the heavy lifting, but sometimes it's nice to know what you don't know before you go into the attorney and ask for stuff. So to that end, we help them understand the plans they have. We help them understand if there are any gaps between the plan they have and the plan they think they want, and we point out opportunities to help them get where they want to be, even if it's something they don't know to ask.
Now, would you say most of your advisors' clients are in the taxable estate range, or are they just in sort of that um, I guess you call it high mass affluent, low high net worth, not taxable, but maybe in a taxable state? Or tell us a little bit about like the clients that your advisors are working with.
I would not say we're all taxable states. I mean, in fact, it's a bell curve. One of the things that with estate planning, a lot of misconception among clients is that they have to have estate taxes in order to have estate planning. And of course, as the exemption has climbed, even though it's due to sunset, fewer and fewer folks have estate tax concerns. So we deal with, one of my colleagues used the phrase middle rich. We deal with a lot of those folks too,
Yeah.
the people who aren't in an estate tax position but have accumulated significant wealth and have some interest in passing it on, and are not going to outlive their wealth. Um, so yeah, we have a range. I mean, I think I wouldn't say that we deal exclusively with people in the taxable estate range. We deal with
Yeah.
the lion's share of who we work with are people who don't have taxable estates.
I think what we find talking to our advisors, the advisors use Vanilla a lot, is there's a big misconception estate planning is only for the taxable, but there's so much around income tax, basis management, all the things, even just how to title things between first and second death, where people just are lost and they need help. And that's where advisors can come in and be a huge differentiator.
Yeah, trusts, in fact. I mean, you start talking about trusts and people think of, Rockefellers, or for anybody too young to know who that is, Bezos, or, that trusts are for those people. No, trusts are something that a lot of people use. And most people don't consider themselves wealthy. Most wealthy people don't consider themselves wealthy. So you kind of have to tell them, look, you've made it to the point where even something simple like a revocable trust may be appropriate to minimize delays and make things more efficient, and forget taxes, just in terms of making your life and your family's life easier.
Okay, so let me pull that thread a little bit. If you're an advisor who comes to you, Rick, and says, all my colleagues are starting to have these estate planning conversations. I don't know where to start. What are the one or two questions or prompts that you give them to help them feel, okay, I can walk into this conversation safely and know that I've got Rick and his team backing me up behind?
One of the nice things about estate planning is, and I'm going to put the second one first on purpose. One of the nice things about estate planning is the fact finding is kind of already done. One of the questions people can ask when they're on shaky ground is, has anybody ever looked at your estate planning documents, your wills or your trust? Inevitably successful clients, not all of them. There's plenty who don't have them because they're busy living their lives, but a lot of successful clients have done some work. And I learned a while ago, one of the things, back to the first one, how to approach this. Advisors should tell their clients, listen, I know you probably have this done. I'm not offering to do this for you. But if you're like a lot of people I know, what you have, either through the passage of time, the changes in your estate, the changes in laws, whatever, doesn't exactly match what you've done, because I deal with too many other clients where it just didn't go right and their families are left holding the bag.
Yeah.
So approach them by saying, listen, if you ever, one of the things I do in addition to the money management or whatever is help with where all this is going to go, what's going to happen to all this, hence the wealth planning department that we have here to help with a variety of aspects. When it comes to your estate, listen, you probably have a plan. If not, we'd be glad to, talk to you about how to get started with one. But if you have one, let's take a look at it and let's see if it does what you think it should. Because in my experience, there's always something that is left uncovered. And most clients kind of get that and they start nodding
Yeah.
their head. And
Yeah.
we all inevitably feel like that. Like, yeah, there is something more I need to do. No one ever feels like the job's completely done. So it's kind of an easy ask. And clients say, yeah, I'd love to have it. This is not what you lead with, but there's no charge to this. It's not something our advisors, there's not a fee necessarily that goes with it. It's just, there may be a fee in the planning arrangement overall, but it's not like an extra cost. And, clients are happy just to have a second set of eyes on what they have already.
What win stories you're hearing from the field?
Two of my favorite stories. One of them, it's an advisor who said one of his, he recently retired. And he said, one of his favorite things to do is to talk to my clients about the estate plan and the review that you provide and the expertise and the conversation that we have with them, and show them that their attorney did something wrong. Now, I say that kind of tongue in cheek. That's not my approach. Our approach is to support what the attorney does. I want to pump the attorney up and let them know they've done a good job. And this isn't you missed a spot, or we got you here, you were wrong here, because that's not a good relationship to have, and it ultimately doesn't serve the client. But his point was that I like the idea that I have a team of people that can take this review and take this expertise that I don't have, bring it to the client, and have the client, and the attorney relationship strengthened because of it.
We're staring 20 months away from one of the big tax changes of the decade with the sunset between now and then. What are you guys thinking about, and what advice do you have for your peers in the planning community?
From a planning standpoint, every year in January, I always tell advisors, every year in January, the Heckerling Institute on Estate Planning covers strategies for estate planning at all levels, but especially advanced planning strategies. And it seems like each January, when there's a sunset, because this has happened before, the message is, hey, our dance card's filled for the year. We're booked. We're busy. We can't get to your stuff by the end of the year. And this is in January that a lot of attorneys tell you this. So be mindful of that. This is the year. Don't wait until January of 2025 to get things started. Get things started now. This is the year to start looking into it. Now, as far as the things to do, like I said, because sunset has been threatened before and has not happened, we know that the exemption is scheduled to drop to 7 point something in 20 months. Okay. It's probably going to fluctuate a bunch more over the course of most clients' lifetimes. And so to lock it in, to say that is what it is and it's never going to change, isn't quite the case. It may not even go back to 7. And I don't ever make any promises or guarantees. Anybody who does, I think is not doing their clients a favor, because we just don't know what's going to happen. So whatever you do, if you do undertake something this year, make sure it's flexible. Make sure you have trust protectors. Make sure you have ways to reassess based on what actually happens. And the last couple of times there's a threatened exemption, a lot of people had donor's remorse, where they used their exemption to the fullest, gave away everything they can, only to come back and say, well, I wish I hadn't done that because the rules changed in my favor and I wish I had it back. And then you have to unwind it, which, is almost always possible, but still precarious. So I think it's something that as people enter this, I would say go quickly, but do it in a way that's not going to cost you anything later if you try to unwind it.
Okay, well, Rick Holman of Baird, thank you so much for your thoughts on how to scale estate planning. This conversation's been fantastic,
Thank you. Appreciate it,
and
Jim.
thank you for your partnership and everything you do with us.